Hey guys, it's Metal, and I'm going to talk about the one-button auto rotation, auto mash one-button macro thing. I think it's pretty damaging to the health of the game, and I hopefully will show you why. If it matters, I am a eye level 683 Paladin. I play all three specs, mostly Ret this season, but I play all three, and I'm about 3,400 IO. I'm pretty good, not amazing. I think I know how to do my rotation well enough that hopefully this will make sense. So I'm going to do 3 demos. I'm going to do one where we do our rotation normally. I'm going to do another with just the one button. And then I'm going to do a third one that is a little bit different. And so we'll start. We'll just do my rotation like I normally would here. I'm going to open it up. And we'll do this for 2 minutes. I'm just going to use my trinket. And that'll be kind of our timer. So there goes my trinket. And I'm just going to kind of go through my rotation here on 5 targets. And you should see my opening burst cap out around 10.5 million, maybe 11, depending on my procs and how much I am or am not paying attention. Hopefully I'm paying attention a decent enough amount to get this kind of across. Got a little tier set proc that we'll use. And there's our next Wake of Ashes. And we're coming up on our second 1 minute rotation in just a second. Here we go. We got a tier set proc during it. That's always awkward. I'm just going to override it. I love this tier set, but it is always awkward when it procs like during your opener where you don't really want it. And I know this part's kind of boring. I don't know. I guess I could yap while I do it, but I think it's important to show the data in a real-world scenario just so you guys can kind of like check it out. Feel free to fast-forward the video. I'll put some timestamps in. And we are done. So it's right around 8 million. It's going to drop lower because when we walk away from the dummy, we stay in combat with Consecrate, so it thinks we're still fighting, but we're not. So we'll call that 8 million. Okay, we'll call that 8 million sustain. So now I'm going to do 2 minutes just with the one button macro. The only thing I'm going to press is my trinket at the beginning. So I'm just going to hit this one button right here, which I've bound to the number 1 on my keyboard. And I'm just going to use my trinket, and that's pretty much it. So here we go. You'll notice it uses Wake of Ashes first, then it does Final Reckoning, then it does Hammer, then it does Divine Toll. So this is one of the reasons you'll see its opening burst is a lot lower. Although you'll see I am still getting close to 10 million. Like my opening burst is not really that much lower. But it does it in slightly the wrong order in my opinion. From what I've seen, you always do the Divine Toll first and then activate your hammers and then get your debuffs, and then it's for maximizing your Wake of Ashes uptime. But you'll see, like, as I start to drop off, one of the things it is actually pretty good at is just, like, the sustained DPS rotation. So, like, currently, you know, it's sustaining about 7 million, and, you know, maybe we'll drop to 6.5 or 6 by the end of this. I'm not really sure. But, I mean, I'd say this is very respectable damage on 5 targets. It's obviously not fully optimal, but it's good. So we're coming through our second 1 minute rotation now, so let's see what it does. Yeah, again, it uses Wake of Ashes, in my opinion, too early, and then ends with Divine Toll. So that's kind of an odd decision. But yeah, we're back up to 6.8. We're probably going to end at like 6.5, I would guess. Back up to 7. We've got about 40 seconds left. I'm guessing we'll end around 6.5. Again, I'm literally just mashing the number 1. I'm not paying attention to anything. You can see it like uses my procs when they pop up. It pretty optimally uses all of my normal rotational abilities. It's going to throw in the Wake of Ashes here soon. There it goes. It just came off cooldown. We've got about 15 seconds left. And so it just never misses a proc, really. Even if the APL is a little bit off, even if you have a 25% GCD, it's still using everything as soon as it can. So we'll end that. That's going to be right at 6.5 million. So that's 1.5 million less DPS than me doing my rotation. Again, I think pretty well. I think I'm a pretty okay player. Not that Rhett's hard, but... so 1.5 million DPS loss. I think immediately, without even getting to this third part that I'm about to do, immediately this is extremely concerning to me. It's way too close to optimal. But what if the one thing it did wrong the whole time, as we saw, was that it didn't do my opening cooldown usage correctly? What if you just did your opener manually to get that correct, and that's like 4 button presses, and you got all the burst, and then you sustained from that point on until you got to that burst window again. You just did your 1 button press. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to run in, I'm going to do my opener like I usually do. Okay, and now I'm transitioning to 1 button. So I did like, I don't know, 5 or something button presses. We got up to 10.5 million. And now we're just going to use this 1 button to sustain. And I'm not going to do it at the 30 seconds. I'll just let it use Wake of Ashes for me. But I'm going to try to get it to where I do my own 1 minute burst rotation again when we get back to that point. So this would be like basically you're just paying attention to your 1 minute major cooldowns, which again, it does use for me as Red. I don't know if everybody's this way, but as Red, it uses all my cooldowns for me. I don't have to use anything. But yeah, when we get a little bit closer here, that's what I'm going to do. So right around the 20 seconds mark, I'll do another manual burst. Okay, got about 8. So it looks like in 7, whenever my Divine Toll's up, that's when I'm going to do it. Okay. And I'm going to transition now. I'm going to Divine Toll manually. I'm going to use my hammers manually. Use that manually. Do my Wake of Ashes manually. Spend that. And now I'm mashing the 1 button macro again. Just mashing the number 1 key. Got about 30 seconds left. Which means we're going to go 1 more Wake of Ashes. Here it goes. Oh, it's prioritizing the tier proc. I actually disagree with that, but, you know, live your life, APL. And these little things that, like, are minor are just that. They're minor. It's perfectly sufficient. All right, so we'll stop right there. We'll call it 6.8. So that's pretty close to the same DPS. And then let's check the total damage numbers too. Because I think this is another one where, like, sometimes people just look at DPS, but DPS can kind of be tricky because, like, maybe you do your burst rotation really well, like when I do my opener manually, but then maybe I do the rotation worse. And I think that I do the rotation worse than a bot that is doing everything as soon as it comes up. So the first one I did, this is me manually, ended at 7.5. I did 960 million total damage over 2 minutes. And then the second one I did, which is just the 1 button, I did 780 million damage over that 2 minutes. And then the one I just did, which is me manually doing my opener every 1 minute and then mashing the 1 button rotation otherwise, I did 797, so 800 million total damage. So the total rift, let's say I did the most optimal one where I'm mashing the optimal one button where I do my opener manually with 4 buttons, then I just mash the 1 button rotation. It's 160 million damage. Now, that isn't nothing, but it's not very much in my opinion, especially when you consider that that's me doing a target dummy thing. And sometimes I've heard people say, like, oh, well, if you fight the target dummy, that's just it on a target dummy. Like, that makes me more worried. Because in a really hard, like, Mythic Plus pull, where there's lots of stuff going on, you're going to be more incentivized to use this. Because it's going to be harder for you to pay attention to your rotation. You're going to be more mentally stressed paying attention to what's happening in that Mythic Plus pull, avoiding stuff, And you're going to miss more of your globals. You're going to do your rotation worse if you're doing it manually. So I think there are going to be lots of scenarios where this damage difference, even if you just did the plain, this is just the plain old one-button rotation here. That's a little less than, what is that, 160, 120,000? 120,000 less damage. 120,000 less damage total. Sorry, 120 million less damage total. That's still a very small gap that I think will become closer together when you consider that using the one-button rotation allows you to literally just, like, you can look at the ground and be like, where are all the circles? Where are all the circles? And then just keep mashing. You just mash your one-button rotation, and all you pay attention to is the mechanics. I think this is very bad for the game. I think it's unfun to incentivize this strongly using what is basically an aimbot or like a loot farming bot in an RPG or whatever. This is basically a bot, and I can appreciate the accessibility idea behind it, but unfortunately, this is a lot different than certain other accessibility features. Like, they put colorblind mode into the game, and nobody's complaining about that. It's just an accessibility feature. Yeah, but colorblind mode doesn't have any potential encroachment on your incentive to play the game. So, like, I am not incentivized to use colorblind mode in any normal way. It's not like turning colorblind mode on gives me something. But turning this one button thing on, even with the 25% GCD penalty, in my opinion, is going to be enough of an incentive for a good chunk of players. And I mean, even like, if you consider me a good player, I have 3,400 IO, I think I'm pretty solid. I think even at my level and a little bit higher, there will still be incentive to use this, which means at lower levels, this will quite often, in my opinion, be much better than the player actually learning how to play the game, and will, in fact, incentivize them away from learning how to play the game. Because if you can just start with this amount of damage right away, you're never going to want or need to learn how to actually play. I think that's sad because I like playing the game. The game I like is the game that I play. So I think they should make some of the rotations a little less complicated. They should make procs more obvious. They should make the game easier to play, but they shouldn't put in a system that plays the game for you. That's bad. But they already did, and so I'm not very hopeful about what this means for the future of the game. I really hope that they nerf this significantly and make it, like, at best 40 or 50% of optimal damage. Because I think it will take that big of a change for it not to significantly disrupt a large portion of the player base from being incentivized to actually play the game. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of sad. That's all I have to say. Goodbye!